I can't stand him anymore.
4 years ago, I thought life was pretty much perfect. My wife, Melanie, had just landed her dream job at Meridian Industries, a massive real estate corporation with more power than the city itself. She was brilliant, driven, and absolutely unstoppable. When she talked about zoning laws, her eyes would light up. We celebrated at the same Italian restaurant where we had our first date. I raised my glass and said, "To new beginnings." She smiled and clinked her glass against mine. "To us, none of this means anything without you." That moment stuck with me because months later, when everything fell apart, it was the reason I fought harder than I ever thought I could. At first, Meridian was everything she hoped for. Challenging projects, big responsibilities, a career path that seemed to stretch into the stratosphere. But success attracts predators, and her boss, Nick Carruthers, was waiting in the shadows. He didn't mentor Melanie. He hunted her. It started small, compliments about her looks, dinner meetings that were just excuses to get her alone, gifts that were way too personal. The kind of red flags most women are forced to ignore because calling them out can cost them everything. Then came the touches, a hand lingering on her shoulder, standing too close, a whisper in her ear disguised as feedback. I saw the change in her before she said a word. The joy was gone, her shoulders were always tense. She came home late, drained and quiet. One night I held her and said, "Talk to me. Whatever it is, we face it together," and then it all came pouring out. For 3 months, she had endured his comments, his pressure, his suffocating presence, all because Nick wasn't just a boss. He was a king, and women who challenged kings were crushed. Something inside me just ignited. I kissed her forehead and said, "Whatever game he thinks he's playing, it ends tonight." That night, I found Nick at his usual steakhouse. When he went to his Porsche, I stepped out of the shadows. He tried to act superior, but when I stared him down and told him his behavior was over, I saw a flicker of fear in his eyes. For 4 years, that fear kept him in line. Melanie thrived. She got promotions, earned respect, and even became a partial owner. We bought a beautiful house. Life was perfect again. Until Nick decided to bring back the nightmare. Melanie came home one night, pale as a ghost. He's at it again. 4 years of safety, gone. He was a partner now, untouchable, powerful, and he had her trapped. Her shares in the company were locked in for 7 years. If she quit or got fired, she'd lose $200,000. Nick knew it, and he was coming for her again. I realized then that no one was coming to save us. We had to build our own justice. I told her the plan. "You're going to wear a wire." Fear flashed across her face. "David, he'll destroy me if he finds out," I told her. "He already is." This time, we fight back. We got a tiny recorder disguised as a hair clip. For 2 weeks, Melanie documented everything, his veiled threats, disgusting comments, and promises of promotions in exchange for appreciation. The recordings were damning. Then I dug deeper and found he'd done this to other women. Most were silenced until one, his former assistant Carmen, handed me a folder she had secretly kept. It was filled with emails, chats, and expense reports proving this wasn't just harassment, it was a systemic culture of corruption. I didn't go to HR or the board. Nick controlled them. Instead, I went to an investigative journalist, James Mitchell, a man who couldn't be bought. I gave him everything. He said it was explosive but needed Nick's comment before publishing. But Nick retaliated. Melanie's parking pass vanished, her work access was restricted. Then he came after me. My clients pulled out, my bank froze my credit. He was strangling us, so I made the call. James published now. The next morning, the story hit. The internet exploded. National news picked it up. Other women came forward. The stock plummeted. The board panicked. Nick played his last card. He had me arrested for burglary and harassment. I was handcuffed in my own driveway. But the truth was already out. The charges were dropped, and federal agents discovered financial crimes far worse than harassment. Nick was arrested on 27 counts, including fraud and racketeering. Meridian collapsed. Melanie testified in court, powerful and unbroken. When asked what gave her the courage, she looked at me and said, "My husband reminded me that when systems fail, you build your own justice." Nick was found guilty and sentenced to 32 years. And Melanie? She was asked to rebuild Meridian from the ashes as chief operating officer. Under her leadership, it became a model for workplace safety. The greatest victory wasn't the magazine covers or courtrooms. It's that my wife can go to work every day without fear. And we, despite everything, came out stronger, together, always together.